What's good, everyone, and welcome into another edition of the World Class Hoops podcast here for Wednesday, July the 28th, 2021. I'm your host, Chris Rouse, coming to you from my hometown of Chicago, Illinois, as we get ready to go into a whole episode here, basically covering everything that's going on the basketball side of the Olympics, talking about Team USA getting back on the right track last night or this morning. I'm one of those people, it's not the next day until the sun comes up. So last night, Team USA with a big win against Iran to get into the win column in the Olympics. And then also Team USA, the women's team, had a win on was that Monday night, Tuesday morning. See, right now, with the international dateline, it's kind of it's kind of throwing me off which day was which. But Team USA, the women's team, able to win against Nigeria in their Olympic opener as well. So we're gonna cover that today, and also cover some history possibly coming up for USA on both the men's and women's side of action. But as you can see, once again, I'm your host, Chris Rouse. You can follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at KingRouse21. And also you can catch the World Class Hoops podcast wherever podcasts are heard, available on Apple, Anchor, Google, Spotify, and YouTube. So here we are for Wednesday, July the 28th, 2021. A brand new edition here of the World Class Hoops podcast. And as promised, we're going to kick it off talking about USA basketball, the men's Olympic team in the win earlier this morning or last night. Remember, the game did start at 11:40 p.m. Central Time, so last night, as far as I'm concerned. But Team USA with a 120-66 victory against Iran. It is Team USA's first win of the Olympics, obviously, after having lost the opener to France, 83-76, back on Sunday. And honestly, a bit of a must win game for Team USA. I mean, yes, they were highly favored, being that coming into the Olympics, they were the second ranked team in FIBA. And Iran was the number 12 team of the 12 teams, so the lowest ranked teams by FIBA, the governing body of international basketball, had USA number 2 and Iran number 12 coming into this matchup. And Team USA, after their loss to France, this was a must-win matchup, and they came out and they played like it was a must-win matchup. You see a 120-66 final. They win by 56 points, and without a doubt, in my opinion, I thought it was a statement win. I just simply thought it was a statement win for Team USA. I mean, just look at some of the goings on in the game. I mean, first off, they won by 56 points. Also, I was actually up to watch the game. They were playing. That's kind of probably why I'm stumbling over my words this morning. I'm stumbling over my words this morning, man. But they were playing to the buzzer, man. They had some late steals in the game. They were playing the full court pressure throughout the ball game. I mean, Damian Lillard, I thought he was the key to the Team USA victory. And he also, in the post game interview, he even said their goal was to come out and dominate. Their goal was to come out, be aggressive, and dominate, and that's exactly what they did. They dominated on both ends of the floor. They pretty much out hustled Iran. They beat them in all the hustle stats. I think the only one Iran might have won it was points off turnovers, which is something USA does have to work on moving forward, fixing their issues with turning the ball over, which is something that also plagued them a little bit in that game against France down the stretch on Sunday. But what they did really well in this game, they really shot the ball well. And like I said, Damian Lillard, I think he was the perfect guy to give the post-game interview. He mentioned how the team wants to be aggressive and dominate. He even said it shows in the score. And they won by 56 points. They once led by as many as 57. Iran did make it interesting for a little bit. They made it, and I'm gonna get to more on that in a moment. Team USA has 6 players in double figures, led by Damian Lillard, who had 21 points. Iran had 3 in double figures, led by Ahmed Haddadi, who had 14 points. He also has NBA experience, 6 years in the NBA, most notably 5 years with the Memphis Grizzlies. But Team USA, a 120-66 win in a must-win matchup. Now they prepare for the Czech Republic on Saturday at 7 a.m. Central Time. But I keep mentioning Damian Lillard. He led the way in scoring. He mentioned how he wanted to be aggressive and dominate. He said it shows in the final score. And honestly, Damian Lillard was the perfect guy. He was the perfect guy to get that post-game interview. And in my opinion, like I said, I thought he was the catalyst for this Team USA, for Team USA's victory. He literally had their first basket. he hit their first basket when they were down 2-0. He hit a 3. And then later in the game, it was about 4 minutes. It was exactly 4 minutes left in the first quarter. I thought it was more of a game. It was a game with a bit of a quicker filling out process than normal. But with 4 minutes left, it was 17-12, and then Damian Lillard hit a 3 that sparked Team USA onto a 13-0 run that would span for 4.5 minutes. He also would finish the first half with 18 points, 6 3-point field goals, in the first half. And by the way, that 3-pointer he hit where he made it 20-12 with 4 minutes left in the first, that was already his third 3-point field goal of the game. So he was already pretty much letting it be known what type of game he was going to have, and he was going to have against Iran. Iran tried to play zone defense, but when Damian Lillard started hitting the outside shot, it was pretty tough for them to kind of sit back and just let him shoot. And it also sparked Team USA the rest of the way. I mean, they ended up having one of their better shooting games. I know they shot 55% from the field in the game yesterday. They shot 19 of 39 from three-point land throughout the game. They shot 13 of 21 from three in that first half. And once again, Damian Lillard had 6 of those 13 three-pointers in that first half. I mean, this game was like I said, it was pretty much a statement win for Team USA. This game was pretty much over at halftime. They were up 60-30. And I mean, pretty much in that second half, I was just watching to see how they played as a team. Let's see what things they work on. But one guy I did kind of have my eye on was Jayson Tatum. Now, this is something I've been thinking for quite some time. I think Jayson Tatum, you see his stat line in the game last night. I think Jayson Tatum has all the tools to be one of the best players in the NBA. I really do. And I'm so serious. I think he has all the tools to be right there, considered at some point be a top 5 player. I think like how we look at a Giannis Antetokounmpo, how we look at a LeBron James, depending on where you are on that end of the fence. I think LeBron is still top 5. So I'm just saying that now. Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic, some of these guys that you can see that are in the top 5 now or that you can see coming to be in the top 5. Kawhi Leonard. I think Jayson Tatum has all the tools to be that as well because he's such a magnificent scorer. I think Jayson Tatum, I mean, he has a lot of games where he puts up some pretty solid numbers. I mean, when he's on, he has games of 40, 50. I mean, he put up 60, 40, 50, and 60. I mean, literally just added 10, and he had them all. And I mean, I'm looking at 30, and honestly, when I look at scoring in regards to Jayson Tatum, I like to think of Jayson Tatum as sort of I like to compare Jayson Tatum sort of to Steph Curry because he led the league in scoring at 30. Not by style. I'm just saying Steph Curry led the league in scoring with 32 a game. And Jayson Tatum this past season in the NBA, he had 32 points. He had 16 games where he had 32 or more. So Jayson Tatum, when he's on, he has that potential to be one of the best players in the league. On the flip side of that, I think Jayson Tatum also is very streaky at times. And he has games where, he'll have 40, 50, and 60, but he also gets off to a very good start. But then he has some games where he has a rough start, and he'll shoot 3 of 12, 3 of 15, 6 of 10. These are actual stat lines. I'm not pulling these out of thin air. He actually shot 3 of 12, 3 for 15, 6 of 10, just like he actually scored 40 points, 50 points, 60 points this past season. And I mentioned he had 16 games where he had 32 points or more. But on the flip side of that, he also has 16 games where he shot he had exactly 16 games where he shot 40% or worse. In 6 of those games, he shot under 30. So, meaning the jump shot was really busted that day. Now, I'm not picking on Jayson Tatum. I say all of that just to say this, that he shot 5 of 11. You see, he shot 2 of 7 from three-point land. But one thing I do want to say, I do see that he is improving at getting to the basket. I have noticed him sort of playing a little bit more patient in the international play, even in the exhibition games. I noticed when they were playing against Nigeria, he looked real comfortable getting to the basket with the Euro step. I know he missed a game after that with I think he had an ankle injury or something like that. And then in the game last night against Iran, I mean, the game was well decided for Team USA, but I saw him finding ways to be more active. He's showing that he's starting to become more confident off the dribble, being more patient and breaking down his defender, taking him to the basket, hitting him with a smooth Euro step and laying it in. Not necessarily having to sit back and settle for the outside jump shot, which I think is what can be the cause for sometimes for some of his streakiness. I think he's very reliant on his outside jump shot, but I do think what I am noticing out of him so far, what I'm observing so far throughout the exhibitions in the Olympics, him being much more confident, learning that, hey, if the shot's not falling, I got to get to the rim. So I do see that for Jayson Tatum, and I think that is going to be a next step up for him in terms of possibly becoming one of those top 5, one of those guys you consider a top 5 player in the NBA, like I just said a few moments ago. There you see on the screen, Team USA, their next matchup will be on Saturday. This will be their final preliminary Olympic matchup when they go up against the Czech Republic, who will be led by Tomáš Satoranský. Hey man, the ear was itching, man. I had to scratch it. Uh, but they'll be going up against the Czech Republic. A few things I want to touch on though. Some side notes. Going into that game against the Czech Republic, Kevin Durant in this game he only had 10 points, shot 4 of 8 from the field. He only had 10 points on I say only, but that's 10 points is pretty solid. I mean, he was one of 6 guys that had double figures, but he had for Kevin Durant standards only 10 points. But in the next game against against the Czech Republic, he needs only 6 to pass Carmelo Anthony as Team USA's all-time Olympic scorer. Carmelo Anthony has 336 points all-time in 31 Olympic games played. Kevin Durant, this is only his 3rd Olympics, and so far he's played in 19 games. So it's looking like he's going to pass that in 20 Olympic games and set the all-time Olympic scoring record for Team USA. And also, remember, he's going to have a chance to, if they beat the Czech Republic and they advance to the knockout stage, he can really continue to add on to that. Remember, Kevin Durant in his last 2 Olympic showings set records, 156 points, 155 points respectively, at both the Rio games and the games that were played in 2012 as well. So he has the most points for Team USA in a single Olympics. So coming up on, he just needs 6 points when they take on the Czech Republic to become Team USA's all-time Olympic scorer. And real quick, salute to Maryland, man. I won't say, and I don't mean the Terrapins. I know no shade, but ILLINI over here, man. But shout out to Maryland. With Carmelo Anthony, he has his ties to Baltimore. Kevin Durant, I know he has his ties to Prince George's County in Maryland. So salute to Maryland, man. The top 2 scorers all time in USA basketball. Shout out to that, man. You got to salute to that, man. And one last thing I wanted to touch on, man, sort of jokingly, man. Hey, man, I love consistency, man. I love consistency. I know I was talking about Jayson Tatum. Would like to see him be more consistent. But sometimes consistency can be a bad thing, man. The long reviews have made their way to Olympic basketball as well. At the end of the first half last night, or this morning, however you want to look at it. I'm going to say last night. I know I'm going to stop going over that. Last night, USA, they were up, was it 60-30? It was 60-30 at halftime. So Iran hit a 3-point field goal to make it 60-31, and then we had I promise you, it was a 3-minute review. I don't have an official clock on it, but I promise I looked at the clock, and it was whatever it was. I can't remember the exact time anymore. It was a long night, man. And USA, I just know it was a 3-minute review. And so, hey, man, all consistency. Hey, consistency doesn't necessarily also always mean a good thing, man. The long reviews have made their way to the Olympics. A 3-minute review just to settle whether or not Team USA was going to be up by 30 or 29 points. So, come on, man. Let's speed it up. Let's speed it up a little bit, man. Hey, I appreciate trying to get it right, but it's like, come on, man. 3 minutes, like 3+ minutes, 30-point lead. Come on, man. He did it. Like, hey, come on, man. Let's just keep on moving with the game, man. Like, I'm gonna keep on moving with the show now as I'm gonna go on the Team USA, the women's team. They too were in action earlier this week. They took on I'm gonna keep on moving with the show, man. As Team USA, the women's team was in action earlier this week as well as they took on Nigeria. And I was originally going to do this show yesterday, man. But I actually kind of decided, you know what, I just push everything back, do one sort of like Olympic backlog show almost. But because I mean with the times of the games, with Team USA, the men's team playing last night 11:40 Central Time. And the women's team, actually, they played at the same time. And they'll also be playing at the same time later this week when they take on Japan in their next Olympic matchup. But for Team USA, the women's team, they defeated Nigeria 81-72. That was Team USA's, the women's team. That's their 50th consecutive Olympic win. 50-game Olympic winning streak. So Team USA just rolling over Nigeria in the game. Now look, that final score is a little bit misleading. It was 81-72, but I think that final score is a little bit misleading. I actually did, once again, I stayed up. Now, I won't lie on this one. I did stay up for this one. I fell asleep about the third quarter, man. I was a little worn out. So I went to sleep about the third quarter. This one, Team USA was still up by about, I think, 10 or 12 points at this point. So I kind of figured, like, all right, they had this one in hand. But then when I went back and sort of looked at the highlights of some of the final, 13 minutes that I missed of the game, I saw that some of the same things that had plagued Team USA throughout the game, some things that they're going to have to work on moving forward. Yes, they did get the victory. I know. I do see they got the victory. I just want to get this out the way before I go into saying everything positive about them. Everything positive. I just want to get these thoughts off too. Don't want to smoke. Don't want no smoke. Just want to get this off real quick. 25 to 11 was the turnovers. That means Team USA turned it over 25 times to Nigeria. That's something they got to work on. And then also letting teams back in games. That's really dangerous, man. Nigeria didn't shoot the ball well at all in this game. They shot 27% from the field, 23 of 84 from the field, 6 of 28 from three. That's 21%. But down the stretch, man, they managed to make it close. They even had a 4-point play in the fourth quarter, and that's really going to be an issue for Team USA because they're going to go up against Japan in their next game. And Japan, they had a pretty good comeback effort themselves against France. I know they trailed by as many as 8 in that game against France, but they were able to pretty much pull off what was considered a bit of an upset. Considered a bit of a big upset here in the Olympics as they won 74-70. So Team USA will have to pretty much play the full 40. I know they had a pretty big lead. They did have a rough start as well. And they at one point, they were trailing 20-17 at the end of the first quarter. But for Team USA, at the end of the day, remember, just got to play the full 40, man. I know Team USA on the men's side, they were playing to the final buzzer, again, fast break, full court pressure, getting steals in the front court, a fast break dunk for Devin Booker to make it 120-66 for them. I mean, in the Olympics, that's kind of, I don't want to say it's encouraged, but it's kind of encouraged, because one of the tiebreakers is point differential. So for Team USA, they're gonna have to play the full 40 when they go up against Japan, and also going to have to cut down on the turnovers. But one of the things that I think that they really need to continue doing was, they have the size inside. They won the rebound battle 61-41 against Nigeria. But oddly enough, they won the rebound battle by 20 as a whole, but lost the offensive rebound battle 19-16. So what you would like to see more of in the next game against Japan, closing out possessions. You don't want to give the opponent too many opportunities to keep making shots, which is sort of what happened in the second half in the game against Nigeria. And then also for Nigeria, they had some standout players. Azeni Kalu, she had 16 points, 6 of 11 from the field. And then Adora Alanu, I got to give her credit. Salute for that half court shot for Nigeria. It cut the lead down to 12. It was 44-32 at halftime. But at the time, I thought they did give Nigeria a little bit of momentum. They put them on a 7-1 run going into the half after Team USA had went on a 23-0 second quarter run, which has spanned 7 minutes. It was led by 2020 WNBA MVP A'ja Wilson, one of my favorite players to watch in the WNBA. I think I might have said that on the show the other day when I did the World Class Hoops podcast. How I like to watch her move around the floor. How she'll be at the high top of the key, set a screen and then reset at the low block and get a nice move and hit a layup or step out and hit the elbow jumper. And that's sort of what she did in the game against Nigeria. Like I said, Nigeria was up 20-17. And then actually it was like 2 back-to-back possessions. Team USA, they fed A'ja Wilson on the low block. And she had one play when she went baseline, laid it off the glass. She had another one where she stepped back and hit the jump shot. And then she had another possession. She came down the court, drew a foul. And that eventually sparked Team USA as they went on a 23-0 run. Diana Taurasi, welcome back to the lineup. She had 10 points herself, hitting a few jump shots. Shout out to Sue Bird. Sue Bird, man, puts up these. I love watching Sue Bird play, man. She's one of my favorite players to watch as well because of how well she passes, man. Sue Bird, no points at all in the game. 0 for 6 from the field, but 13 assists, 4 rebounds, including one very beautiful assist in the second quarter. I think it was actually still part of that 23-0 run for Team USA where Team USA was running the floor and she ran just to the free throw line, just how they teach it on the fast break. Stopped right at the free throw line, dropped it off to Tina Charles for a beautiful layup. So shout out to Sue Bird. Didn't need to score to make an impact. 13 assists. Breanna Stewart had a rough shooting game, 3 of 13 from the field. She had 9 points, and that's actually kind of interesting because I thought Breanna Stewart was the more consistent of the 3 players in the starting front court for USA in the exhibitions, that being A'ja Wilson, Brittany Griner, and of course Breanna Stewart herself. So we'd like to see her get back on track when they get ready to go up against Japan in their next game. But once again, big shout out to Team USA. Big shout out to A'ja Wilson, man. 19 points, 13 rebounds in the ball game. Went 6 of 10 from the field. And I thought, much like I said about Damian Lillard, how I thought he was the catalyst for Team USA in their win in the game last night against Iran. I thought she was the catalyst for them with those 2 possessions that I mentioned earlier, where she helped them sort of get back on track against Nigeria to get into the win column here on their quest for gold. And by the way, man, I mentioned history for Team USA for the men's side going into the tournament. The women's team, remember, that was their 50th consecutive win. But guess what? For Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, if Team USA, if they can end up completing the quest and winning the Olympics and getting the gold medal. Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, they will be the first players ever, men or women, first basketball players ever to win 5 Olympic gold medals. So some history at stake for Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi as they continue on their Olympic quest throughout the Tokyo Games. And remember, once again, Team USA, they'll be in action again in their next matchup when they go up against Japan. That'll be tomorrow at 11:40 p.m. Central Time. So Chicago, if you're in Chicago like I am, 11:40. If you're in New York, 12:40. If you're in LA, that's 9:40. So, and, Denver. Shout out to Denver. Had fun there a few months ago, 10:40. So, I'm trying to help everybody out. World Class Hoops Podcast. I got to brush up on my time on the international side. So to my international listeners, I apologize. So, if possible, look up Chicago time and work accordingly, man. Until I can help you out at a better rate moving forward. But thank you for tuning in to the World Class Hoops Podcast. I'm talking like I'm wrapping up. I'm not done yet. But once again, Team USA going up against Japan. Big game from Asia Wilson as they get ready to prepare for Japan tomorrow as they continue on their quest for Olympic gold and trying to make history for Diana Taurasi and Sue Bird, who try to be the first 2 basketball players ever to win 5 Olympic gold medals. And also on the men's side, Kevin Durant looking to be Team USA's all-time Olympic scorer when they take on the Czech Republic on Saturday. Elsewhere in the Olympics, earlier today, Team USA, the women's 3-on-3 basketball team, won the first ever Olympic gold in that sport. Remember, this is the first time that the 3-on-3 basketball is being considered an Olympic sport. And Team USA, they take home the gold. So shout out to Team USA. They had a 60-game win streak snapped, but they managed to bounce back as they get the Olympic gold. They went 8-1 on their way to winning the gold. So shout out to Team USA as they win the Olympic gold on the women's side for the Team USA women's 3-on-3 basketball teams. They win the first ever gold medals for that sport, for that type of basketball in an Olympic sport. Elsewhere in the NBA G League, earlier today, actually, like right before I started the show, Jayson Hart, associate head coach of the USC Trojans, he has now been hired as the new head coach of NBA G League Ignite. He will take over for Brian Shaw. Brian Shaw is now going to be an assistant coach for the LA Clippers. So shout out to Jayson Hart as he'll take over for the NBA G League Ignite team. He will have the privilege of having guys like Sterling Scoot Henderson and Michael Foster. So shout out to him as he goes on to make that chance. And then also everyone he'll go on to have that opportunity. And then also everyone's still watching to see what's going to happen with Imani Bates, the one of the top recruits. Remember, he had originally committed to Michigan State and then he decommitted. So we'll see what Imani Bates does. And remember, it is rumored that he is possibly considering going to the NBA G League Ignite team as well. So we'll see what happens in that development. And then also Mike D'Antoni has decided that he will no longer be a full-time coach on the Brooklyn Nets staff. So he is now going to leave the sideline for the Brooklyn Nets. And then also the NBA talked about new rule changes. They said they're going to emphasize calling offensive fouls pretty much on players that are doing not unnatural shooting motions. So probably swinging through, kicking legs up. And I say it's about time. I mean, that's sort of like, when James Harden was winning scoring titles, I feel like that was one of the things that was often talked about. How he would bait guys into, swiping at his arm and then he'd shoot the ball, or he'd step back, kick the leg out, let you fall into his leg. It's like finally, it's like, oh, okay, finally, you finally legislating it. So salute to the NBA, I guess, for trying to pretty much trying to defend the defenders. I think that's something that has had to be that needs to be incorporated, because defenders sometimes, they get, sometimes the offensive players do get bailed out, and not to pick on James Harden, but he was sort of the prime example of that when he was leading the league in scoring and the inflated free throw totals and all of that. So I think it's good to see the NBA sort of kind of defend defensive players as well, a little bit as well. They're defending the offensive players with the landing zone fouls. So now I think it's good to sort of look out for the defensive players as well by trying to say, hey, he has a right to that area as well. And then also, no unnatural shooting motions that can create contact and draw a foul on the defensive player. So I think that is a good look for the NBA moving forward. Before I get out of here, I want to make one last note on the NBA G League, man. In the NBA G League, the New Orleans Pelicans finally announced their NBA G League team. I was going to talk about this on the show that I was going to originally do yesterday, And I did see the Pelicans and Grizzlies trade with Jonas Valanciunas for Eric Bledsoe. Jonas Valanciunas for Steven Adams and Eric Bledsoe. But I want to mention the New Orleans Pelicans NBA G League team, the Birmingham Squadron. They're going to name the team is now going to be named the Birmingham Squadron. You can find them on Twitter at G League Squadron. The reason for the name, as posted on the Twitter page, it says under the notes, under the picture that has the note saying "Flying in Formation." A squadron is a group of pelicans on the hunt. There is a united purpose to their movement, demonstrated with precision and power. So the new name of the New Orleans Pelicans G League team is the Birmingham Squadron. Remember the Erie Bayhawks, the longtime name. The Erie Bayhawks is no more. That franchise has ceased operations. Remember, they were the G League affiliate for a number of teams. Lakeland, the Orlando Magic at one point, the Atlanta Hawks, and then the Erie Bayhawks name, it sort of dies with the New Orleans Pelicans, as that will be the last team representing that had the Erie Bayhawks to represent them as an NBA G League team, as the New Orleans Pelicans now move their G League operations down to Birmingham, Alabama, with the Birmingham Squadron. Feel like I've been rambling. Also feel like I need some sleep, man. I did, man. I really stayed up, man. I stayed up and watched the USA game against Iran, man. I tried to watch it all the way through to be thorough for you guys. But I'm gonna get up out of here, man, and hopefully you all have a great day, man. I actually got to go make another move later myself. But once again, this has been another presentation of the World Class Hoops podcast, which you can catch on Twitter at World Class Hoops, at WCHP Media, and on Facebook and YouTube at World Class Hoops Podcast. Also available on Anchor, Apple, Google, Spotify, and YouTube. And remember, you can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at KingRouse21. There you see it on your screen there. And remember, man, positive energy to you all. Until next time, I hope you all are safe. I do plan on doing an NBA draft show tomorrow. Not at the time of the NBA draft. Like I said, man, I got another move to make. I actually won't even be able to see the draft live myself. So I'll be tuning in from a distance with the NBA draft myself. So I do plan on having a show tomorrow, sort of breaking down the NBA draft. So be on the lookout for that tomorrow here with another presentation of the World Class Hoops podcast. But until next time, man, positive energy to you all, man. Thanks for tuning in. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you may be. It just crossed over in the afternoon where I'm at here in Chicago. So until next time, man, y'all be safe. And thank you for tuning in, man. Salute.